SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
State Treasurer David McRae has put hundreds of millions back into the hands of Mississippi's citizens, expanding the state's affordable college and career savings program and also returning record amounts of unclaimed money. Check out how Treasurer David McRae's office can help you, your business, or your organization. Treasury.ms.gov.
Oh, yeah.
Good morning, Mississippi.
Everything gonna be all right this morning.
Mornings with Richard Cross.
Oh, yeah.
Here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Woo! Now, when I was a young boy, at the age of 5,
good morning to you. How are you doing on a Friday morning? Dave Hughes here, sitting in for Richard as always do on a Friday. And over in the booth, my buddy Lance Tolbert sloshing around, pushing the buttons. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm hanging in there. It is a Friday, so I'm excited. It's been so hot, though. It's almost depressing when you get out there and you're like, oh, you see all the leaves, and you hope that we'll get some colors, and if you just lit a match right now, everything would go poof.
Yes.
It's just poof. It's over, and all the leaves would be gone. But, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a hot weekend, I think. Hopefully next week we'll start seeing some temperatures maybe calming down a little. The evening should be okay, though. But 95, 96 in the middle of the day, ooh, I'm kind of done with it, Dave. I don't know about you, buddy.
I've been done with it since about June, actually. And it's unfortunately just the way things work. Saw a great meme that said, get ready, we're headed towards October when we'll be able to enjoy high temperatures, high humidity, flip-flops, shorts, and pumpkins. So basically it's every other month of the summer with pumpkins added.
It's so funny, too, because we'll get to Halloween, and I can remember Halloweens where you absolutely freeze because no one's ready for it yet. You've had 90 degrees, and all of a sudden you get this little snap, and the little, the kids and everybody, they're fine. But as you get older, your skin gets a little thinner, and it gets colder out there. And I can remember many of them walking around, with a girlfriend and their kids, and just absolutely freezing. So it's coming, but it's usually a shock in the South. You don't ease into the cold weather here, I don't think. Then it'll be summer again in December.
I don't remember the last time I saw hot chocolate for sale at a high school football game, and that used to be every year.
Yeah, you're right. It's dangerous, too. The hot chocolate always was a weakness of mine, but at the same time, it's kind of like my nemesis. You drink one and your tongue is now numb for 2 days, and it's like, did I really just do that again? I knew better.
Yeah, well, if there's one thing human beings are famous for, it's not learning nothing.
Oh, yeah, and touch the same eye twice, if you burn your hand on it. Yeah, I'll do that.
Yes.
Down on it.
It's the great advice dental assistant once gave me when I was complaining because I had a tooth at that time that was hurting when I touched it with my tongue. I said, it hurts when I do this. And she said, well, stop doing that.
Yeah, don't do that
next.
Anymore. Right.
But, you sit there and you worry at it. Once you find out it's a problem, you've got to continue making it a problem until you finally fix it. And, boy, is that not a metaphor for the United States of America right now.
Hey, man, when you got a day like today, it's a Friday. We've had a long couple of weeks, obviously, with the Charlie Kirk slaying and then many things going on in lieu. And, in the middle of all that with the media and just craziness out there. But on this day in history, 1796, George Washington's farewell address was published. And his farewell address was printed in a Philadelphia newspaper. And basically what he said was he implored the country to maintain neutrality and avoid entangling alliance with Europe. We got our president over there.
He just got back.
Yeah, just got back. Over there, yeah. Come on, man. But, yeah, that's something that I've always really admired about Washington was on the way out. He's like, don't get messed up with Europe. Don't get tangled up with all this stuff because they're going to want you to. And if you look at the world we live in today, fast forward a few hundred years almost, and the 250th out, and you got entangling alliances all over Europe. And it's just, and again, I'm not anti-Europe, but I think the warning was probably well-deserved.
Yes, but you've got to realize it was a different world then, because, George Washington had just helped lead the country in a war against England to get free of their nonsense.
They came back again, remember, 1812. They tried it again.
And at that point, the money wasn't in continuous war.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's a lot of money goes back and forth with these alliances and conflicts and
it's very
else.
circular, too. It's not linear.
Yes.
None of it ever really gets paid off. It just kind of gets handed from here to there and back over here, refinanced later, and now it's a condo in Destin instead of a warship or something.
And, I'm sorry, if you get 5 people in a room, give one of them a $20 bill and have them pass it back and forth amongst themselves for a week, nobody's any richer when it's over.
That's right. And that's debt. That's a really good way of looking at it, too. But I found that to be fascinating on this day in history. You also had, on this day in history, a very notorious individual was his manifesto was published as well. And his name, Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, the 3,500-word anthology, was published in the New York Times and also the Washington Post. And thank goodness they posted it because it helped lead to his arrest. Actually, his brother and sister-in-law were the ones that recognized the handwriting and said, hey, this is my crazy brother. He lives up on a mountainside up there and smells like a goat. You might want to go check him out.
They always say they recognize the handwriting. I would bet anything, this never came out this way, but I would bet anything his brother and sister also read that and said, oh, yeah, that's Ted. Yeah. Nobody else would write something like this. Call the cops. It's Ted again.
I shouldn't say handwriting. I should say the syntax. They knew that the way he wrote. And because the letters that he had written them, they started comparing them, and they're like, uh-oh. So, no, that's a good catch by the FBI. And you also, Mariano Rivera, you remember him, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Panamanian baseball pitcher.
One of the best relievers to ever play the game.
2011 recorded his 602nd career save. When he retired, though, in 2013, Rivera, and that was a record then when he got the 602nd save on this day in 2011. But when he retired in 2013, 652 saves behind his name, considered the greatest relief pitcher of all time. And, I can't remember, Dave, and I didn't watch him every time because that's a lot of saves, but I don't remember him blowing saves.
No,
he was just money,
Yeah. He was automatic. That's why, as a Braves fan, I used to despise when they would call him out from the bullpen against the Braves. I'm like, well, never mind.
Yeah, it's over.
I can go to bed now.
Money Mariano, and he was something. And again, if you weren't a Yankees fan, as you just stated, that was not the guy you wanted to see him roll out late in the game because it was like, man, he's like a machine. So
you had to admire him. You had to admire the skill and the talent and the ability and the consistency. But boy, was it aggravating.
Aggravating, yeah. And that was that golden era, of the modern era of New York Yankee baseball too. Played with on some great teams with some great players. But on this day, 1974, American comedian and television host, funny man, Jimmy Fallon was born. Sunita Williams, astronaut, 1965, an American astronaut. William Golding, the British novelist, 1911. King Henry III of France and, don't forget, Poland in that deal, 1551. This was his day. And then Twiggy, the biggest one of the day, a British fashion model, 1949 she was born. And those are the big birthdays of the day, so not a whole lot of big ones. I mean, there may be a couple others in there somewhere, but... Well, Jeremy Irons, he's a pretty good one,
You mentioned Jimmy Fallon. In his little monologue, his song and dance last night, he had the only decent joke about the Kimmel thing that I've heard so far from anyone. He came out and he said, man, Jimmy Kimmel has been suspended from his show, and I'll tell you how bad it's getting. My dad called me last night to tell me how sorry he was my show had been canceled. Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Well done.
I like it.
He went off the rails then, but
at
least he got one good one in.
Well, Adam West, one of my favorites, to the Batman. He played.
Yes.
He did a great job in, played the mayor in Family Guy as well for a long, long time in the cartoon. So that was always pretty interesting, too, to see. And he was a funny guy, actually. Sherry O'Terry, Saturday Night Live, 63 years old today.
Where did she go?
Yeah, exactly. I haven't seen her in a bit. Obviously, she's still alive, or we wouldn't be doing a birthday that she's still alive, but I have not seen her in a bit. An interesting thing that did happen on this day, a couple of them. The first commercial laundry actually opened on this day, Oakland, California. Think about how long ago this was for the first commercial laundry, 1849.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's on back there, wasn't it? The other one I liked in this deal was apparently in 1959, Soviet Prime Minister Nikita Khrushchev, he was wanting to go to Disneyland in L.A., but he got really angry as they said, no, you can't do this, Premier. We can't let you do this. It's too risky. And so basically he was allowed to visit a movie set and then an Iowa farm. But he didn't get to go to Disneyland and left a little red about it. So
well, he showed up red.
Yeah. He maybe went pink when he got here, but he was red when he left.
He was the red. Oh, man. Well, life's tough. You know, you come in as a communist leader and you don't get to go on the Matterhorn. I don't. What kind of world are we making?
I'm making demands. I want Disneyland.
For all the people. Yeah, right. We continue as we get this Friday morning cranked up here on SuperTalk Mississippi, and mornings keep it here.
From the Venable Glass Traffic
Mississippi.
Well, I used to wake the morning before the rooster crowed, searching for soda bottles to get myself some dough. Run 'em down to the corner, down to the country store, cash 'em in and give my money to a man named Curtis Lowe. Oh, Kurt was a black man with white curly hair.
Starting us off with the classics this morning. I like this.
Yeah. Well, and it's a good Friday for a little Curtis Lowe, you know?
Yes. Every day is a good day for Curtis Lowe.
I could play that every day, yeah. Like Needle in the Spoon, Lodi, all those. You know, there's a bunch of good ones that you can just play that I don't get tired of. I don't care. I could play them every other one.
Yeah, definitely. Welcome back. Mornings on SuperTalk Mississippi. Sorry, I got caught up in Curtis Lowe for a second there, but that's what it's there for.
Yeah, he'll do it to you.
That's why it exists. And we'll talk more about it later. I just want to throw this out. Fox News first reported this. They got video of it. There were moving trucks at the Jimmy Kimmel studio late yesterday, moving out set pieces and equipment.
It doesn't sound like a furlough.
No.
It sounds like a sayonara.
Well, we'll get into it later because there are some details that have come out. The Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal, other places have dug into this and gotten some inside information about how that happened. And it's not quite as cut and dried as some of the braying donkeys would have you believe.
I believe they were looking at it for a while. I mean, I don't.
Yes.
When you run a multi-billion-dollar corporation, you don't make knee-jerk reaction decisions with shareholder money and all of those that are holding options and all that. They're looking at that as an opportunity to make more money, not less. So, yeah, I don't believe for a second that they felt Jimmy Kimmel was a necessity in their business plan. However, the years we've seen in the past four before Trump, obviously, he was a part of the mouthpiece brigade. And, they kept him there because obviously it was something that was popular with the ruling party. But as far as his relevancy in late night talk show and being a comedian, he's terrible. I'll be honest. There's so many better comedians. I mean, if you wanted someone to be funny, why don't you go back and look at the ones that were actually funny?
Well, that's the point. They don't want someone to be funny. They haven't for a while.
You got to have a target on one group of people, if you know what I mean.
Well, the problem that they have that nobody on the left wants to talk about is his August rating was 0.35. had 1.1 million total viewers in August. That was down 43% from January. And his...
So you're telling me that many people just bailed out on him overnight, or maybe were the ratings a little bit gerrymandered and finagled to make it look good for years? Because that doesn't just happen overnight.
Yeah, I would say possibly both, but... his ratings and all of late night's ratings have been in a free fall for the past 5 years. You look at them on a graph, and it's just a steady, continual trend downward. Most importantly, the 18 to 45 demographic. That's the one advertisers go after. Mm-hmm. He had, I think it was 112,000 people in that demographic.
Yeah, that's pretty brutal.
For August. And
even more people go to a football
money.
game at Tennessee almost. You know, I mean, you could take Tennessee's crowd and then a smaller school's crowd, and that you got his viewers all in one stadium.
Yes.
I mean, that's amazing.
We have more listeners than he has viewers in that demographic.
That's amazing, isn't it? And then the guys, he made tons of money too. And you got advertisers. I mean, that's the way it works. You got to sell ads to make money on this stuff. You know, I mean, that's free content basically, unless you find a revenue source. And when advertisers are like, hey, we don't really like the message.
We'll get into it, and we'll completely demolish the whole free speech argument later on if you want.
Oh, I mean, free speech. You got the right to talk all you want.
You got the right to suffer the consequences for what you said all you want.
That's right. Yeah.
That's what it boils down to.
Everybody has that right.
This is not free speech. It's free market.
Well, right. I mean, this is a system in which people need businesses to function. Those businesses rely on revenue. And if you're not making revenue, you probably are losing revenue. And businesses just don't stay open if they're not making money.
No.
Unless you get subsidies and somebody's bailing you out.
Oh, it's been going on for a while. Mm-hmm. But I'm sorry, late night television, and I am a huge late night fan. I'm almost a historian for late night television. But not lately. It's been years since I really paid attention to any of them. After Conan left, I was kind of done. Because we've lost something, and it's not even necessarily just in the hosts. You go back and you watch the old reruns of Carson, which I do on a regular basis.
Oh, yeah, the Jonathan Winters ones and Robin Williams ones make you pee your pants.
That and the old roasts, the Friars Club roast, the Dean Martin roast. But I'll tell you something. We had I'm about to tick off some younger people. I also don't care. We had a completely different caliber of celebrity that would come on the show as guests. It was a completely different level of star, if you will. Because I'm sorry, a lot of the people that have risen to prominence in pop culture are not there because of talent. And that has become more and more glaringly obvious with every year that goes by. And I'm sorry, they're just not interesting. They don't understand. They don't have. My wife put her finger on it perfectly. We were talking about this the other day. The difference between the average list of guests on Carson. You know, you had Frank Sinatra come out, and Rickles, and Shelley Winters, and Bob Newhart, and all of these people were regular guests on the show. The difference between that group of celebrities and the ones we have now, she summed it up in one word: class.
Yeah.
They all had class. We don't get a lot of that anymore. Yeah, so
they were entertaining
talk
too,
show,
though. It wasn't just an interview where you asked, "Hey, how you doing? What's going on?" and then they spill what they need you to click on to watch them. There was give and take, and it seemed conversational more so than a staged. But that's me, and the way I'm like you. I watched a lot of Carson and a lot of Conan and Jay Leno, and it just seemed more organic to me. I'm sure they prepared out like the Dickens for those interviews, but they were skilled at it. And also, the guests seem to have something worth hearing in many cases. Right. You know, that's the other part, right?
Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly right. I'm sorry, when you have an artist on as a guest on your show, and they wrote and recorded some song, let's say, a big hit song, and you have them on and they talk about how they did it and how they came up with it and all of these things. And nowadays, you have Cardi B on there with a song you can't even play on network television because of FCC restrictions on language. And you ask them, how did you come up with this? Well, that song had 16 writers.
Yeah, 16 writers.
And none of them were her.
Yeah.
So you wind up with a situation where all of that's gone. When it's not talent-led and talent-driven, there are no stories to tell. Why ask?
Yeah, it's again, glory days. Love looking back, and especially the curtains. The curtains of the Carson show. I mean, if you see that and you don't recognize that, then you just grew up in a different era. Because it was showtime, and he came out and he did the little golf course swing. And Johnny was just cool. That's all I can say. He was just a cool guy, and he knew his job so well and was so well respected in it, and seemed to pick on everyone, equally. It was not.
Yes.
There was not a political motivation there, and you wouldn't have known if there was. So I find that time was a little bit more unique, in that it seemed that everything was kind of on the table, and you had some class to it as well.
Yes, you poke fun at everybody, and Carson especially did not do it in a mean way. There was no attack in his jokes.
No, that's what I'm saying. There was class to it, right? There was a delivery, and he knew, that his job was not to skewer and roast people, but to entertain people, and at the same time get a good interview done. And let's have some fun here. And then you got the guy Ed McMahon over there. I mean, was there a better right-hand man? And I mean, you could say probably many of the band guys for some of the shows that we've seen, like, Branford and Paul Schaefer and those guys. But there's not a better. That's right. Yeah.
Well, if you wonder where the career's worth of jokes about his drinking came from, go to YouTube and type into the search The Tonight Show, Ed McMahon drunk. He showed up drunk for a show, and they taped the show anyway. And at one point, Carson's laughing so hard at him sitting there, said, "You really think you're fooling everybody, don't you? You really think nobody knows what's going on. It's just dying laughing." They just went ahead and did the show anyway. They didn't care.
Well, and I mean, in one of our listeners here, Jim and Hernando, thanks, but, with Rodney Dangerfield being in,
yes.
Oh my goodness. I mean, I didn't mean to leave him out. There's so many greats that were in there, but I mean, is there a crazier dude ever that, I mean, it's just, I don't even know how to put a finger on Rodney Dangerfield to define this man. I just can't do it, but I love everything he's in, and, the movies. You
just put your finger on another difference. Rodney Dangerfield and Don Rickles. Let's take those two. Love Rickles. Neither one of them, superficially, if you just kind of glance at them for 3 seconds, a lot in common. No, they were completely different. Their act was completely different. They had a completely different persona because everyone was an individual. And we don't have a lot of that anymore.
From the Mississippi app.
Welcome back. Mornings on SuperTalk Mississippi. Dave Hughes here. Lance Tolbert over in the booth. And we probably need to mention football at some point, don't we?
I got one thing left, though, for you with entertainment. I have to go here because this is the greatest movie ever made, in my opinion. All right, I'm going to name the cast of this movie. Y'all tell me if you can figure out what movie this is. You got the lead of Rodney Dangerfield, Miss Sally Kellerman, Keith Gordon from Christine fame, Robert Downey Jr., of course, Sam Kinison, Terry Farrell, and Billy Zabka, and the right-hand man of Rodney Dangerfield, Mr. Burt Young himself. Now, does anybody know what movie that is? Because it is the best movie ever made, and Rodney Dangerfield does the triple Lindy in the movie, which is a dive that he hits off of 3 different diving boards. The movie is Back to School.
I was about to say, it's got to be Back to School.
Come on, man. With Sam Kinison in there, I mean, the cast of that movie is great. What, you're talking like 86?
Mid-80s.
Yeah, and then you got Billy Zabka. He was always the heel. That's the blonde-headed guy from Karate Kid, so he was the another diver that was kind of a wuss. But thought I'd mention that. Keith Gordon, though, and a lot of folks don't know, he quit acting to be a director, but he got his start, really. He and Kevin Bacon were off-Broadway guys. They worked together, and it's kind of how he got his start before, kind of hit it big with Christine. So, but that was a little trivia I wanted to share. But, plenty of football to cover, Dave. Come on. I want to start off with the community college ball. Had a full slate last night. Copiah Lincoln took down Jones 31-20. Holmes was victorious over Northeast 43-27. Hines blanked Mississippi Delta 48-0. East Central 37, Pearl River 27. Itawamba 34, East Mississippi 24. And then Northwest Community College put the big 0 on Kahoma, so they beat them 45-0. So the couple of Delta ones got beat up a little bit last night. And now we got big-time ball happening this weekend, obviously.
Hold on just a second. Before we move on past that, you were talking about the Delta schools. Got something you probably haven't seen this yet. This was put out by Mississippi Delta Community College about 5 hours ago. So about 2 o'clock this morning.
I was sleeping.
Yeah. Emmanuel Cooks of Elba, Alabama, a player on the Mississippi Delta Community College team, passed away due to medical complications after the game last night.
Goodness. It was so hot yesterday, Dave. I don't know if that's what it was, but goodness, thoughts and prayers to his family and teammates and coaches and all of his friends and students that he's in school with. That's terrible news.
Dr. Stephen Jones, president of Delta, in the statement they issued, said, "Our entire Trojan family is devastated by this loss. At this time, our deepest thoughts and prayers are with Emmanuel's family, teammates, coaches, and friends. We'll come together as a community to support one another through this tragedy." So I just that was.
Thank you for mentioning that, Dave.
Had to get that in there while we were talking about community college football, and also wasn't a full slate. Southwest and Gulf Coast play tomorrow.
It was a Saturday game for those two. And hey, I was going through some of. You get to obviously do high school football on Friday nights, but the names that are all over Mississippi Community College football, stars that we have seen over several years in high school, have really, there's some blossoming players out there. I know Chase Richardson had a big night last night, throwing and running the ball. And it's just, if you have an opportunity to get out to some games, I don't think you're going to be disappointed with the talent level and the execution. It's impressive. We have a gold mine there of not just entertainment, but quality football.
Well, and
with great players.
I've said this a lot, and it's one thing that people tend to not really have firmly in their mind. Because community college in a lot of people's minds occupies an odd place. It's past high school, but some people don't consider it college. It's college. Mm-hmm. I want to point out that is college, and you're going to get a ton of players from every one of the community college teams that go on to play at a 4-year university after they're done there. You're getting college-level talent on the field every week at a community college football game.
You do, and I'll say you're seeing a lot of kids that put in a lot of time junior high and high school that may not have had that opportunity to D1, or they did, and they felt like maybe the junior college, community college route was the best way. But I'll say this, there's some players, and it just continues getting better here in Mississippi, and maybe we don't have an opportunity to cover community college football as in depth as, because it's hard to get stats. It really is. It's one of the few. Yeah. It's difficult, but getting the game scores to you, I'm glad we can do that. And if anybody has updates out there, something they saw in one of these games that they would like to share, please hit the text line and let us know. It's always nice, and I'll try to cover some of that tonight briefly as well. Because again, a lot of these high school kids are what making up those rosters, and now as freshmen and sophomores, and it's impressive. Well, I'll fast forward here. We got a big one for 2-1 Delta State. They got Fort Valley State University. They'll travel. That is a Saturday game, 2:00 p.m. That'll warm them up before they got Erskine College next week as they host them. So Fort Valley State for Delta State at 2:00. Ole Miss, they'll be hosting Tulane 2:30. That game will be on ESPN. Tulane, solid squad. Won't be a Arkansas game, let's hope. But maybe we'll have a little defense there for a little that first half or so. That Arkansas game was a boat race. Hopefully, we'll have a little bit more defense there in the first half. But you can't take anything away from Taylon Green, the Arkansas quarterback. That dude is a player with 6'6", I mean, he looked like a man out there against a bunch of men. So, I mean, like a double man. So hopefully Ole Miss will play a little cleaner in the first half against Tulane. Mississippi State is going to have Northern Illinois, 3:15 kickoff. That is an SEC network game. State, as everyone knows, off to a 3-0 start, looking good. Right outside the top 25 in that 30 rank. So go out and look good this weekend. Before
I had a thought, by the way. We are at that point in the season where you start thinking about what are the records going to be when we get to the Egg Bowl?
Yeah, I mean, well, you got Northern Illinois. You get that one out of the way first. Get that 4-0 behind you. You start feeling pretty good as you get Tennessee coming in next week. You'll be hosting them. It'll be a late afternoon game, 3:15 next weekend. So, I mean, this is the one, though, right? If you're Mississippi State, you go, we want to really look good here, come out healthy, play a clean game. And it generally, those things generally carry over. And that first game, State had a bunch of penalties. You saw them clean that up. And as they've gone through, you've seen progress. And I think that the guys really believe in their coach, the players around them. They have good talent. And it's a team that's fun to watch. I'm anxious to see this game because I'll be honest, I'll be tuned into that Mississippi State-Tennessee game next week and hoping the Dogs put it on them. I don't like Tennessee very much, so nothing against Tennessee. I just don't know. Yeah. Just not a fan. Southern Miss has La Tech. That'll be in Ruston, so that's a 6:30 evening game. Probably be a nice little 65 or 70 if you are driving over. Play the windbreaker off your cardigan, and you'll be good to go. Southern Miss again off to a great start, 2-1. Had the loss against Mississippi State early. Jackson State, they beat them. Took App State down convincingly. Louisiana Tech, not necessarily a step up over App State, but going to be another tough game for them. And be fun. Be a fun one to tune into. Got some big games, though, this weekend. Not huge games, but like Texas Tech at Utah. That's one that folks may want to watch. That's a 17 and a 16 battling against each other. Auburn and Oklahoma, that's a 22. Auburn, 3-0, going up against a 3-0 Oklahoma team. We covered that a little bit earlier in the week. You can get tickets for that one about $30 if you're around Norman, Oklahoma. Michigan and Nebraska. Nebraska is actually 3-0. I don't remember last time Nebraska, had started out 3-0, but it's been a quiet 3-0. Michigan 2-1, so probably believe Michigan's going to take that one. That one is in Lincoln, Nebraska, though, so Nebraska may have a little bit of an edge there. You never know. Notre Dame is 0-2, still ranked 24th in the country, taking on a solid Purdue team. That will be at Notre Dame Stadium, so Notre Dame may get in the winning column here. South Carolina at Missouri should be a good ball game. South Carolina got rolled last week. Missouri is on a roll. 3-0, ranked 23 in the country. So that one is a 6 o'clock ESPN game. Then you got Florida and Miami. So that's one of those that, Florida's 1-2. Miami always seems to be a little overranked. I wouldn't be surprised if Florida didn't find a second win here and upset Miami. However, it is in Hard Rock Stadium in the Miami Gardens. And the AccuWeather forecast says it should be, about 84 degrees. So it ought to be a nice tropical environment down there for those two to, tie up. Illinois and Indiana, two ranked teams, both 3-0. Illinois is 9, Indiana 19. That's a 6:30 game. And LSU takes on a 2-1 Southeast Louisiana team. Ought not to be much of a game. Texas has struggled a bit getting the offense going. 2-1 Texas takes on 0-3 Sam Houston. We'll see if Mr. Manning can get them rolling. And then two 3-0 teams here, USC, and that is the Southern Cal Trojans. They're 3-0 at 25 in the country, and they will be hosting in the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum the Michigan State Spartans. They're 3-0. So that kind of gives us a breakdown there where we are. And we had one game last night in the NFL schedule, and that was Miami got beat by Buffalo 31-21. Josh Allen with 213 yards passing. James Cook 108. The leading receiver was Dalton Kincaid. So that's what I got for you on sports, bud.
Very good. I can't be the only person on the planet that gets aggravated every time Notre Dame comes up.
Well, they're 25th.
I'm sorry, you're 0-2 and you're still in the top 25?
Everybody is saying the same thing, yeah. A little recency bias, probably.
The fix is in. When we come back, hopefully the fix is in for you. There's no fix, but we'll see, if we can wish it for you, because it's time to talk about the lottery, and we'll do that next on Mornings on SuperTalk Mississippi. Keep it here.
From the Venom.
Yeah, baby. Count those things out. Big, fat stacks of 20s. That's what you could wind up with. Hundreds.
Yeah,
you could get the Benjamins.
I'll take it in ones. Just so I feel like I've got a lot of money. You know, if it's $1,000, give me it in rolled quarters, please.
You want to stuff your mattress with it. I see what it is. Well, we're going to start with something. When you go to the Mississippi Lottery website, mslottery.com, they have a pop-up up right now. It's kind of important. Alerting everyone that despite what some websites and apps are claiming, the Mississippi Lottery does not have an official app. You cannot play the Mississippi Lottery on your phone. Go to mslottery.com and you can find out all you need to know, but they do not have an app. And there are some people out there who are No, I'm not even going to be that nice about it. That are flat out lying to try to get you to go to their website or their app. It doesn't exist, so don't. Just don't. Like I said, when you go to mslottery.com, you're going to get the pop-ups. First thing you see, letting you know that. And you want to do it the right way because, well, there's a lot of money on the table. Powerball, already back up to $99 million. Cash value, $46.3 million. Mega Millions, $423 million on Mega Millions. Cash value there, $196.5 million, estimated, of course. Match 5, $354,000 it's up to. We talk about it all the time. We focus on the big jackpots, but I'd take a couple of $100,000. Get that in ones, Lance. You won't be able to get in your house.
I'll take it, though. I'll make me a dollar bill igloo.
I want pictures. I want so many pictures of that. Yeah, and he'll never let anyone come over to see it for themselves, but, you know. Still.
I have like one of those Mexican cinder block fences with the glued-in broken glass around it, you know, all over the top. Yeah. Sit out there with my 22 just waiting for people to show up. Better get off my property.
A vicious attack dog out front, like a Chihuahua that hasn't had a chalupa in a week.
A whole pack of them.
Yeah. A pack of Chihuahuas.
Yeah,
now that's
biters.
That's almost violating the Geneva Convention. Lottery America, estimated jackpot there, $3.09 million. Estimated cash value there, $1.44 million. You've got Cash 4, Cash 3, Cash Pop. You got a lot of different options to play. You've got the scratch-offs games out there now. They just introduced the loaded ones. You got the $100 loaded, $500 loaded scratch-off, and the Wild Cherry scratch-off with a top prize, again, of $200,000. You have to look at all of the options. You have to look at everything available because there's a lot of ways to win with the Mississippi Lottery, and there's a lot of money on the table waiting to form another brick in the igloo at Lance's house. Yeah. So stop by your favorite retailer, get yourself a ticket today, and once again, the reminder, you can't do it on your phone. You cannot play Mississippi Lottery online.
You got to go stand in line. You got to stand in line like everybody else, huh?
And you got to show your ID. I know a lot of people get upset about that.
Yo, I've seen them before come in and then they're like, I got to go out to the car after they've pulled like 20 tickets. Like, hey, man, let's get this rolling. Come on.
Yeah.
Let's get this going.
Well, the places that I go have learned pretty quickly, especially on the ones that they have to print out, like the Powerball and Mega Millions and Match 5 and whatnot. Before they print it out, they ask, do you have your ID with you?
Yeah. Because
that is a state law. That's not something that the retailer came up with to aggravate you. They have to do it by law.
I was talking to one of the convenience store managers the other day. I stopped in pretty regular, and we were laughing about the $1 billion plus lottery. You know, what was it, the mega? And, you know, he was like, man, I don't know why so many people buy those tickets instead of the Mississippi Match 5. He goes, man, that match 5, it'll get up to 100,000 or 200 or 300, and then it'll pop, and then it resets, and then it pops. It just pops so regular. You're up to 345,000 on that one now.
354.
That's what I meant, 354. I'm sorry. I was selective dyslexia.
A little dyslexia there, but that's okay.
A big time.
It went up, so we're good.
Yeah. So, but again, one of those is, like he said, I asked that to a lot of people, and they're like, man, that match 5, it always seems to be the hidden gem that a lot of folks just don't know about. So I wanted to throw that out there, folks.
Yes,
it hits all the time.
I mean, heck, let me ask you this question. How much better of a weekend would you have if you got $500 put in your hand right now? There's 2 different drawings for Cash 3 today. You could win $500 on each of those.
Yeah. I mean, I need $500, Dave,
Yes, just $500.
Invest a few bucks for $500. I'm in.
I'll take a 20. Give me a Snickers. I don't care.
Hey, again, if you give me that 20 in ones, I feel like I did something.
You need a new wallet. I can just tell that psychically by this conversation. It's old, it's worn, it's stuffed.
Oh, it has
receipts.
a lifetime warranty. Yeah, I'm not ever getting a new one. I remember I bought that 20 years ago. It came with a lifetime warranty, and it has actually lasted so far.
Okay, so far so good. And let's see if we can stuff it to splitting for you with the Mississippi Lottery. Everybody go get your tickets, please. We've got news from Fox News, SuperTalk Mississippi News, and then hour number 2 of Mornings next.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on this show are not the opinions of TeleSouth Communications, its management, or advertisers.
Start your day right. Mornings with Richard Cross on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Who is this?
Everybody does, yeah, that's okay. So slide in, baby, and give me a moment.
Welcome back. This is a little peek inside my dream life. I just have my own personal DJ that plays great music every time I go to do something. Welcome back to Mornings. This hour of Mornings brought to you by MWG Employer Services. They can give you a full range of employer services and a custom plan that fits you. You can call them today at 601-206-7966 or go to MWGEmployerServices.com and find out everything you need to know about making your life better as a business owner. I don't think we can ask for anything more than that.
You an NXS fan?
Oh, yeah.
I love that. Yeah, you look back in that era. And there was, some of those, they weren't one-hit wonders, but, they had 2 or 3 or 4.
They were close.
Yeah, they were close to one-hit wonders. I'm a big Eurythmics. I love the Eurythmics and bands like that. It was just a little different, and they didn't last forever. Didn't put out a ton of stuff, but the good stuff was really, really good.
Yeah, well, and that goes back to the conversation we were having last hour. There are no risks taken anymore.
Well, I think a good point. One of our listeners, Sis-Drunk Mobile Detailing, said, I wish Dave Chappelle had a late-night show. My response to that is he's too smart for that.
Yeah, he'd never do it, is the problem.
He would be the type that would be perfect for it because you would get both sides would be absolutely roasted, and then he would be canceled.
Yeah. He would last half a season, and that would be the end. And everybody would hate him.
He knows that, So I love Dave Chappelle, one of the most brilliant comedians and thinkers when it comes to having opinions that are not just one thing. I love the critical thinking and those abilities. When you see an entertainer that can actually look at both sides of the card and say, well, that on this side there's it's the 2 of hearts, and over here it's a totally different thing.
Well, I'll tell you something. The whole thing with Kimmel going on right now, I don't know if you've seen this. It's popped up on my feed several times. Back in the 80s, early 80s, 60 Minutes did a feature on Johnny Carson. Mike Wallace went to his house and did an interview in his living room, which was rare because Johnny Carson was one of those people that when he was on stage, he was yours. As soon as he was off the stage, you didn't hear a peep. You didn't see him, you didn't hear him, you didn't know what he was, favoring for lunch, nothing. He just vanished. His public life was public, private life private. Well, they were asking him, and Mike Wallace asks him a question in that interview about getting into political causes and things like that on the show, and he had such a perfectly eloquent answer that so applies to today. He said, "That's not my job. My job is to entertain. My job is to send you off to sleep with a smile, to have a couple of laughs and go to bed." And when late night hosts, if they started, promoting opinions and ideas and weighing in on political issues, they would develop a sense of self-importance, and that would ruin the entire thing. Mm-hmm. So no, that's a really bad idea. That was not even arguably, that was literally the greatest late night host in history. That was his opinion. I don't do that because it's not my job. It's not what I'm supposed to do. And now the bills are coming due on all of that happening. You sent me that thing during the break. I've been keeping up with that.
On Ocasio-Cortez.
No, the other one on the streamer.
Oh, yeah. The Destiny.
Destiny.
Well, apparently his destiny is in question, right?
Well, he was banned by Twitch a couple of years ago. They are now demonetizing him on YouTube.
It's hard to believe an idiot like that actually can make money on a platform, but yep, I guess there's a consuming base for his spewing.
I'm going to tie this back in to what we were talking about with music and everything else, because he is a certified, verified slime ball, as I told you in the text. This guy faced accusations of having inappropriate conduct with like a 15-year-old. And he admitted to it. Live. Said, yeah, I did. Like him that way. What's the problem?
Yeah.
I mean, he is a literal self-verified slime ball. I think that the rise of people giving jerks like this attention and giving him viewers and giving him a chance to make a living spewing this nonsense goes back to, in part, I think, the lack of originality in all other entertainment, because he's different. He seems risky. He seems like, somebody that's doing something no one else is doing, which is what attracts people. We don't get that anymore in music, in entertainment, in any area of the media. We don't get it.
Well, we saw, to me, somebody like you who's I'm not been in this role forever, but I have been working with SuperTalk and broadcasting for quite some time, going way back. And so I've always been a fan of listening to people like Don Imus and Howard Stern and those, because at that time they were shock jocks, right? I mean, it seems that, that was the moment where if you said the most outrageous stuff, then it got attention. And that was the 80s. And then we get to where social media exists, and now there's really not a cancel culture for people like that. If you can't, they have a platform. This Destiny guy is a pedophile according to his own announcement, and yet he has a following. I mean, I can't imagine the shock jocks of that era pulling stunts like this and having any kind of platform. But I guess you go to social media and, it's a worldwide thing. I mean, a click can come from India, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to. So, your audience is so spread out that you don't have the neighborhood that you have to be accountable to anymore.
It doesn't even have to be a person. It could be a bot.
Yeah, exactly. Who knows anymore? Right. Good point.
But this, to me, is the rise of that is a symptom. Yes, shock jocks have existed forever.
But they had to keep it within some range of normalcy, or you're gone, buddy. I mean, you remember what happened to Imus. And
there were boundaries.
There were boundaries, exactly. You couldn't just go, let's incite more violence, and then have a platform.
And I'm sorry, boundaries enhance creativity, because otherwise you take the path of least resistance, the easy way to do things and to get attention.
That's a good point,
and it's not creative anymore. Boundaries enhance creativity. It's always been that way.
There's a statement that Hank Hill makes in the new King of the Hill remake, and he's sitting there watching soccer, and one of the soccer parents, as one of the offsides calls goes or something like that, one of the parents said, "Hey, that was offsides," and the other parent said, "Why do we have to worry about rules? Just let the kids play." Well, isn't that life? You have to have some boundaries in order for things to function as they're supposed to. If everybody just got to do whatever they want, then you kind of get what's on social media for the last little while. It's just whatever you can say and get paid to do it. But the rules do matter. And boundaries are extremely important to keeping things moving in the right direction.
Look at the UFC. This is two guys getting in a ring and trying to beat each other unconscious. Mm-hmm. There are still rules.
That's right, yeah.
That you have to have some type of structure to create anything that has any meaning.
Well, think about it. Our next guest is a DA, right? If he,
yes.
How would that work if you just did whatever you wanted, anytime you wanted? The law, in that we're a country of laws, and in order to have some semblance of order here, you have to kind of follow them. There has to be guide rails and guardrails for you, or we will go off track. Period. Or because we see that every day, right? You don't have district attorneys because everybody's following the law.
No. Then, of course, you've got Representative Jasmine Crockett, who said in an interview this week, I don't know if you heard this one, said that police are not there to enforce the law and be a preventative. They are there to solve crimes, and that's it.
Okay, so let the crime happen, and
yes.
then let's allocate as much as we can to solving the crime instead
yes.
of any prevention, right?
Exactly. The whole thing with Kimmel, though, people are severely misunderstanding the First Amendment and the concept of free speech. And I want to get into that later. We don't have time right now because up next we have District Attorney Matthew Barton from the 23rd District talking about the federal mobilization. It's not really the right word, but it's kind of close, in Memphis, and how that could possibly affect Mississippi up there where he's at. We'll be talking to Matthew when we come back on Mornings here on Super Talk Mississippi. Keep it here.
From the Venable Glass Traffic. Welcome back. Super Talk Mississippi Mornings on a Friday morning. Dave Hughes with you, and joining us now, the District Attorney from the 23rd District, Matthew Barton, joins us. Matthew, good morning. How you doing, sir? Thanks for joining us.
I'm doing well, thank you. Off to a good start today.
Now, having said that, you have the potential to get busy in the near future because of what President Trump is doing. And this is one thing, as we have had these conversations start up about bringing in the National Guard and federal agencies to help clean up crime like they did in D.C., the fallout, because it's hard for me to believe that every single criminal suddenly either is arrested or just decides to stop. They're probably going to go somewhere else, and the northwest corner of Mississippi is a prime target when this starts in Memphis, right?
Yeah, I would have to agree. You know, this is something we've been dealing with ever since I got here and before. We have Memphis spillover crime already. Memphis criminals account for almost half of the felony crimes that I prosecute. And so we got a steady dose of this all the time. When I ran for office, I told the sheriff that was running too, we came in together. I said, look, if you round up the trash, I'll take it out. So we've been taking Memphis's trash out for them since I got here, and we're just maybe going to get to do a little more of the same stuff, but we're ready for it.
Well, and Sheriff Tuggle up there is one of the best to ever put a badge on. He's very good at what he does. And I saw his press conference the other day talking about the fact that you guys are preparing. You're getting ready because you expect an influx of people trying to get out of Memphis and get away from what they consider to be the danger zone, right?
Yeah, that's right. And I'll tell you the same thing I told him this week when we met together, and that is his message is the right message, and that's what people need to hear. He said, he's going to take you to jail, and I'll take it a step further. We kind of run like a relay system. They hand the baton off to us at some point. So sheriff is going to put them in jail. He's going to hand the baton off to me, and then I'm going to change their address to parts from Mississippi. So my message is, hey, if you're from Memphis and you come here to break the law, say goodbye to your mommy, because she's not going to see you again.
Well, and I think that is fair because we are trending back towards the big word for the past couple of weeks has been consequences. And that is an integral part of helping get crime under control, because if you feel like you're just going to get cashless bail and walk right back out the door after you're arrested and go back to what you were doing, that's not a consequence to most people. That do these kinds of things. And what you're talking about is putting real, measurable consequences on these folks.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what it takes. People know in DeSoto County and Mississippi in general that if you break the law, we're going to hold you accountable, and there will be a consequence. We have people tell us all the time, hey, when I cross that state line, I'm a law-abiding citizen. I'm not going to speed or throw a rock when I get to South Haven or Hernando, because they know what's going to happen here. And the message has been getting out. I ran on it. My campaign slogan was Stop Memphis, Save DeSoto. So this is what I've been talking about all along. And the message has been getting out. Criminals, they all speak to each other. And I do think, like you said, when the National Guard shows up, which, by the way, I'm very glad they are, it's very needed. And I think President Trump's doing a great thing to send the help in for the good law-abiding citizens there that deserve the help, because Memphis has so much to offer and it's overshadowed by this horrible crime problem. But all that to say, they know that if they can't do it there, some of them can't help themselves. They are going to do it, and they have a choice to make between going to Arkansas or DeSoto County, Marshall County, Mississippi, other suburbs of Tennessee. And I've talked to people in Arkansas and the other suburbs, and we all kind of have the same plan. So, but I know there will be some that can't help themselves, and they're going to have to go where they think they can do it, and they're going to get busted down.
Well, let me ask you this, because you're in a position to know, a very good position there. Because Memphis now is completely different from the Memphis of 20 or 30 years ago. I mean, it's a noticeable difference. If you go there now and you went there in the past, it takes you 30 seconds to figure out, wow, this place has changed. Having said that, do you think that we have had a major increase in crime, talking about the Memphis area, or is it just that people are now paying more attention to it?
I might not be the best person to ask that. I'm 36 years old. I remember going to Memphis in high school, and even back then it was very different. I didn't track the numbers a whole lot. I would say that, from the last 10 years I've been practicing law up here, it seems like it's going the wrong way. One of my actually three of my investigators used to work in Memphis or Shelby County. I hear from them, anecdotally about how it was then versus now, and it seems like it's so much worse, and that's why people would rather come here to work and live and raise a family. And we're getting such an influx of people in DeSoto County, and a large part of that is people see an opportunity for a better quality of life here because Memphis is getting so much worse.
Well, let me ask you this, because as in everything, you could walk out in front of a camera or a microphone today and say, my favorite ice cream is chocolate. And there are going to be people that are going to say, you are the worst human being on the planet. What's wrong with you? How dare you pick that? Vanilla is obviously better. What would you say to those people? Because you deal with this, as you said, you deal with these criminals coming out of Memphis all the time and have been for a while. What would you say to these people that look at what President Trump is doing with sending the National Guard in to help clean up Memphis, who look at that and hear that and respond with, this is horrible, this should never be done, this is an awful overreach on the part of the federal government? What would you say in response to that?
I would say try walking through Beale Street on a weekend and see if you feel safe, because you're not. I mean, I used to joke that you almost need military training just to get through Beale Street, and now it's not really funny anymore now that the military is coming. But I mean, it's gotten so bad, and they haven't done anything that substantially turned the tide. And when you're running out of options at whether you like it or not, at least he cares enough to try. And for the people that are complaining, it kind of reminds me of like when you're at a gas station, there's kind of like a homeless person or somebody out there begging for money, and you say, hey, I have this hamburger from McDonald's, do you want it? And they say, no, I want the cash. Well, it's like, we're trying to offer you the help you need. We know it's not what you want. We know what you want to do. We know you want to have Democrat policies. We know you want to have cashless bail. We know you don't want to have accountability. But if we don't give you that, you're going to fall apart. I mean, businesses are struggling in downtown Memphis to get anybody to come.
And that's the point. And you have to be the wall, if you will, in DeSoto County to keep that from spreading into Mississippi, because crime spreads. We all know this. And if you don't stop it, then it's like an infection. It just continues to spread, and eventually you've got some serious problems. So it's a good thing that you're there doing that. Are you planning on doing anything differently once the National Guard gets into Memphis versus what you've been doing the last few years?
We're just going to give it all we got every day. I mean, I feel like sometimes we're just standing on the wall at the Alamo, and it's just, empty the clip, send them everything we got, and see how we can do. My office has some communications with, other jurisdictions and federal partners about expectations. And I guess the only thing different is we'll have more people to talk to. We've offered our help if there's, a lot of overlap between people that may have cases in Tennessee and also in DeSoto County. And when that happens, sometimes we can revoke, probation or parole, or revoke bonds, or sometimes there's things we can do that might help them get a little further with some of these guys while they're waiting on Memphis, because they're a little bit slower than we are on some of those things. So we'll communicate with more people, but we're just going to keep doing everything we're doing. This is what we do every day. It's like Sheriff Tuggle said, this is what we train for, this is what we do, just like that's what they do. This is what we do. We're in this together. We work very hard with all of our partners, and we just provide all the support they need when they call.
That was a good point you just brought up, because I would assume at times it's almost a jurisdictional nightmare, because it's not just a different county, it's a different state.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you have to deal with extradition and governor's warrants and all that. And so we spend a lot of time on that, but we've gotten really good at it, so I think we're ready for a little more.
Well, I think we got the right people in the right place at the right time as the National Guard is headed to Memphis. You guys keep up the job you're doing up there, and keep us updated on how things are going as we move forward with this, okay?
Will do.
District Attorney Matthew Barton up in the DeSoto County area, getting ready. Business is about to pick up. And for once, that might not necessarily be the worst thing, because the more we get off the streets, the less are on the streets. That seems painfully obvious, doesn't it? We'll continue after this.
From Mississippi.
Welcome back, and I am proud to say in this year of 2025, I still have no idea what a Sussudio is, but it's a great song.
Great song. Love Phil Collins. There couldn't be much more of a homely-looking guy that hit the big time like he did with, and just the epitome of cool. I mean, you look at the guy and you're like, he can't be cool. He was a cool dude. Heck of a drummer, too.
Yeah, but he looked like a Phil.
He was like very nondescript, and this guy's putting out music like that. You're like, goodness gracious. Anybody can do it, I guess.
Reading a thing yesterday bemoaning the fact that the name Bob has gone out of style.
Oh, okay.
Don't have a lot of Bobs coming up.
Yeah, I haven't heard of a Phil in a while either.
Yeah, either one. But, you get a brand new baby. It's a month old. You look down and go, who's a cute little Bob? Mm-hmm. That doesn't work.
Yeah.
So give them time. Somebody will drift off into that, I'm sure. Reading a great thing that I found that somebody posted that sums up what's going on right now with the cultural change that has happened since a week ago Wednesday when Charlie Kirk was assassinated in front of a live crowd. It's called, there's a term for what's happening right now, by the way, mass psychology-wise. It's called a preference cascade. What that means is there is always, no matter what is prevalent culturally in terms of how we act, how we behave, what we think, what we do, what we value, there's always a majority that is steering that. Well, we know what that has been for the last 10 years. Then you reach a point where something happens, some kind of event, whatever it might be. And all of a sudden it's like you flip a switch. The dam breaks, and the people who have been quiet and holding their tongues and trying to keep the peace, all as a group without talking it over, decide they've had enough, and the entire cultural conversation flips. It changes.
Yeah, and with all due respect here in saying this, it's a turning point. And yes. I don't mean that to be clever. No. I mean, I really don't. There's that turning point that has happened.
But here is the argument coming back on all of this right now. This person wrote this. It's Stephen Molyneux. I don't know if you know him, know of him. He writes, "Me, I'm anti-violence. You punch me. I punch back. You say, hypocrite, you said you were anti-violence. I am. That's why I punched back." That's a great way to put that.
Yeah. I mean, if somebody pushes you, what do you I mean, I know it's Christian to turn the other cheek, but what if there's a gun in your face?
Nope. Let's be realistic. I talked about this on my local show this week. People get that wrong. And I'm going to tell you why. In the book of Matthew, in the Bible, we're going to be biblical about this, okay? What happened when Jesus went to the temple and didn't like what he saw?
He kicked it all over and they ran him out of town.
He literally started flipping tables. This is the same guy that said, when they strike you, turn the other cheek.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, I mean, that's a little...
They are not mutually exclusive. Yeah. You don't go 100% all the time with turning the other cheek. Sometimes it's table flipping time, and that's where we're at right now.
Well, and I think that's a good point, too, because we've also seen, and I think we had this conversation the other day with a young man from Columbia High School, Cash James, and he made a good point. You know, Charlie Kirk allowed Christian young folks to be Christian again. It allowed them to feel confident in their beliefs and have an outlet and a platform where they would not be ostracized. They had, a group, and they were confident and comfortable with it, and were growing. And we have a lot of people, saying, well, what about free speech? Well, I don't like the government getting involved in free speech and all that. Well, I mean, first of all, inciting violence, hatred, and celebrating the death of someone, whether it was on the left or right, should be something all of us agree is wrong. Period.
Yes.
It's not about free speech. It's celebrating tragedy, and we're going to sit here and applaud folks and say, well, free speech protects them. Really? Well, I'm not saying the government should get in and start canceling, but if businesses make a decision that it's not good for their business, I mean, hey, that's their business, and I'm fine with that.
I'm going to tell you a story relates to the Jimmy Kimmel thing that's going on right now and the big explosion and discussion about free speech and this is wrong and you can't do this and we must protest. I got my first job in radio in 1982, okay? I've been in it ever since. I did not just walk in the door. I did not just start dealing with the FCC.
Yeah.
Okay?
They've been around.
Got a lot of experience. But even beyond that, had a guy worked at the same company I did. He was at a different station. This was back late 90s, early 2000s, I think would probably be more accurate. And he did a very popular morning show on the biggest station. Well, he had to come in on a Saturday and had to record a show, just literally turn the recorder on and let it record so it could be played back later. Well, while he was doing that, he was kicked back, propped his feet up on the counter where the board was, and got on the phone with a buddy. And sat there, and he was just shooting the bull, and ran down the people running the station, ran down a bunch of other stuff. Didn't realize when he propped his feet up, he turned the microphone on. So his half of the conversation went live over the air. That was on a Saturday. Somebody else did his show on Monday.
Yeah, oopsie daisy.
Yeah, somebody else on Monday did his show. If you are licensed by the FCC, you can argue all you want about the threats from the FCC, and that's not right that they're threatening things. No, the FCC has always done that job. They will always do that job.
Again, we make sure that we understand what those restrictions are, and we try not to even touch the fence line. You don't want that.
Yeah, I'll put it like this. I am sitting here on a conservative talk radio network, okay? With President Trump in office, the Republicans running everything into the ground. If I sat here and for the next hour and 15 minutes just started dropping F-bombs every other sentence, you would never hear from me again, and the station would get fined severely.
Big time fines, yeah. And our bosses would say, see you later.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I might not finish the show. After about the second one, it would be static.
And nobody would blame them. And I wouldn't. You know, if I step out of line from what is expected of me by my corporation, those who I work with, at the liberty of them giving me this job, I have to perform daily up to the standard in which they expect. If I don't, I will get a call. I will say, you didn't do this today, or you did. It's not like people don't listen. We have oversight here, and if you step out, you're going to find out real quick that that's not acceptable. And we have wonderful people that, you know, our bosses, and, you know, but they're very clear to us in what's expected. And if you step outside of that, there are going to be consequences.
Yes.
Everybody with a job knows that.
In today's climate especially, I want to clarify, and I've said this on the air before, and anybody else that works here can tell you the same exact thing. Our owner, Steve Davenport, his one rule, don't lose the license.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't do anything that'll lose the license. Beyond that, it's your opinion. Go with it.
Well, and
just don't lose the license.
Well, we have a comment here. Sounds like you guys want government to control speech. Careful what you wish for. There will be a Democrat president again. Well, they did this.
Yes.
Was your head in the sand like an ostrich as the elephants ran by? Because I can tell you this is 10 times worse what the left was doing. If you want to go back, you see what's happening in Britain. We're talking about somebody that was killed in front of his family, in front of 3,000 people, and you have folks out there celebrating this. And those that are sitting there saying, oh, this is a free speech issue. Oh, okay. I disagree emphatically and wholeheartedly. This is not a free speech issue. This is inciting more violence.
And hold on. Let's deal directly with what he's saying. Sounds like you want government to control speech. Since 1982, the FCC has controlled every word that's come out of my mouth on the air.
There you go.
Since 1982. This isn't new. This didn't just start. It's not going to end. No matter who is in control party-wise in Washington, it's the way it's been my entire life and beyond that. George Carlin, what did he have? What was his probably most famous routine that he did in the 70s? The 7 words you can't say on television. Yeah. Speech has been controlled by holders of licenses from the FCC, by the FCC, as long as the FCC has existed. So you can drop that argument right now. It makes you sound foolish.
And I agree. I mean, I'm 100% with you on that. I just, the government controls free speech. Of course they do. There's the FCC. There's things you can say and things you can't. That's been the way it's been, like you said, since the FCC's been around. Television, radio, any platform.
And I'm sorry.
But because the Internet exists, we can say whatever you want now.
I see, and you can. Go right ahead. The FCC has no control over that. Go on a podcast, release something on YouTube. You can say whatever you want. If you're saying something on a station that holds an FCC broadcast license, you have government rules you have to follow, and it's always been that way, and I'm getting real tired of people who have no experience with the FCC weighing in on this issue because you don't know what you're talking about.
Perfectly put. Thank you.
Well, walked in the door this morning and said, I'm going to keep my blood pressure nice and even today. Well, that's out the window. But here we are. We will continue on this Friday morning right after this.
From the Venable Glass Track.
Welcome back. Super Talk, Mississippi. Mornings on this Friday morning. Yes, I've calmed down. I'm okay now.
Please don't. I love it when you get riled up.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry.
Richard went off the other day. It was perfect. I mean, he was calling out Benny Thompson, and I'm just sitting here smiling like a Cheshire cat. Like, this is I mean, you got to be honest.
Yes.
The other side of this is I don't say half of what I believe on this air. And I know better because I have a much more opinionated stances on things than what I'm able to, express here. Same with Dave and everyone else. I mean, one of the points here was, that Borky and Haydad cover this all the time. Haydad stating that, he can't really say everything he wants here, but hey, come over to the podcast and listen. And that's the way it is. I mean, that's just life. And the other side is I have a belief that if you don't nip things in the butt quick enough, you can incite a much larger problem, which, let's say you allow continued speech to celebrate death and to call out white people, especially on the right, as Nazis and all this. Do you really think that that's not going to incite an even worse scenario down the road? So maybe some of these guardrails are there to protect us from ourselves a bit.
Well, let me just say this. If we're dealing, and we are, dealing with a situation that was started because someone got shot and killed in front of a live crowd of thousands of people, including his children, because someone didn't like what he was saying, please explain why you think the late-night comedian getting suspended from his show is a big attack on free speech. It's not even in the same category. And the difference is now the conservative portion of America, which in the last election back in November was a majority, remember that, isn't going to sit back and quietly take it anymore. That's what's happening. And the left has no idea how to deal with it. Well, they kind of do. Our buddy Russ Latino. I love Russ. He fills in sometimes. I've had him as a guest before. Love talk. I could talk to him all day. He posted something yesterday afternoon. He posted on X and on Facebook, breaking, hearing that school administrators at Clinton High School in Hinds County shut down an attempt to start a Turning Point USA chapter there this week. He says it's arguably a constitutional violation, but almost undoubtedly is a violation of the 2022 SPEAR Act signed into law by Governor Tate Reeves, which guarantees students the right to participate in political and philosophical clubs on the same footing as other clubs authorized by schools. What's that doing to free speech? If you want to have this conversation, let's go. Yeah, what's that doing to the free speech of the students? If we're going to shut down a club, a chapter of Turning Point that the students want to form, and you're just going to shut it down? possibly in violation of the law. That sounds an awful lot like infringing on free speech to me. Just my thought on that. You've got, it's not just that one as well. Where was the other one? Texas. Texas is where it is. They had a Turning Point USA club getting formed by teenagers at Stratford High School in Texas. The adults went in and got into the students' chat group where they were talking about all this, found out all of their personal information, where they were and everything, including the teacher sponsors of this club in Texas, then went to a private Facebook group allegedly called Be the Change, where have we heard that phrase before, and doxed all of the people trying to start that Turning Point USA club at that high school to intimidate the teacher sponsors, to make them shut it down, and to apply pressure to the high school kids and the teachers trying to form this club in Texas. But oh yeah, Jimmy Kimmel is the government trying to stomp down on free speech. Either we're going to have free speech or we're not. And free speech includes the right to call you a jerk. It's that simple.
Yep.
So this is real stuff going on, including that first one that Russ posted that's happening right here in Mississippi, according to him. I can't wait to see more details come out on that. Because
there will be backlash. Yeah, there will be.
Well, they're better.
Yeah, the time we're in now, it seems that, everything is on the table.
Preference cascade, I'm telling you.
There you go.
It is going to take a while for the people who have been running the culture for over a decade to realize that literally with the pull of one trigger, everything changed. Everything. And it's going to take them a while to realize, oh, wait, we're not in charge and we're not winning anymore like you ever were. We've got news from Fox News, SuperTalk Mississippi News, and then the third hour of mornings on the way next on SuperTalk Mississippi. Keep it here.
All right, now to the important stuff.
Your VIP pass to hear what the most influential Mississippians are talking about.
This is very important.
Huge news. Mornings with Richard Cross on Super Talk Mississippi.
Welcome back. Final hour of mornings on this Friday morning. Dave Hughes here. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, we've got Northern District Public Service Commissioner Chris Brown going to join us. We're talking about Holly Springs. And if you know what's going on up there, you'll want to stay listening. If you don't, you really want to stay listening to get the latest details on what's going on there.
I think the bottom of the hour is hate speech. You may get canceled for that. I mean,
I'm
you're
sure.
taking preference there of the top of the hour.
Yeah, well, you do what you do.
You do what you do. Hey, the Spin Doctors are actually still playing. Did you know that?
Really?
Yeah, that's right. That's why I played it.
Did that dude's beard ever fully grow in?
I don't know. He looked like he was 17, right?
Yeah.
That was, but yeah, they're actually still playing, man.
I had no idea. Still out there playing that one song.
Yeah, two of them. I'm going to play the other. Little Miss Can't Be Wrong. You got to give somebody a brain worm. And
that was a good song. Yeah. And then after those two,
see ya. Yeah, I don't remember anything. Hey, I did sent you, and I wanted to ask you your opinion on that. It was the AOC considering a presidential run, and my question to you was, how much fun would it be to have an AOC presidential ticket and then talking Kamala into running as the VP? I mean, I guarantee you that's a $3 billion campaign, right?
Well,
easy.
Cost-wise, yes.
They're not going to get any results, but I would love open mic podcasts with those two. Open bar, you just let them go at it. I mean, that would be true entertainment. You got a former bartender who has got the most. I can't say it on air. The resting face. That if she smiled, I think it would be like earthquake and concrete. And then you got Dr. Cackles over there that has got a flask full of wine most of the time, I think, in her back pocket.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm thinking. The former bartender and the lush.
Oh, man. I mean, wouldn't that would be entertainment now. I'm in. I wouldn't vote for him, but I would definitely tune in.
I told you. I texted you the campaign slogan, Cackles, McGee, and AOC. It's got the rhythm. It's got the rhyming scheme. It's perfect.
Well, and then you have Gavin out there. I wonder how that's going to go. Yeah, if he's going to get a facelift and some more whitening for his teeth. And
he'll try. But you know what? I am at the point right now to where we have so many things going on and such a cultural tidal wave of change happening. I'm not even worried about 3 years from now.
No, that's kind of what I'm saying. It's funny how at this point you have the old leaders of that party that were the furthest on the pendulum swing left almost, that are the ones that are stepping up to the mic 3 years out going, I want this job. I don't even know if they're going to be relevant in 3 years. Who knows?
I hope not.
Yeah.
We can dream.
But if you think about it, you get out this far in advance, what is it? It's a money thing, right? I mean, you're just looking for the payday.
Ashland County, Ohio Fair. We're getting into fair season.
Oh, yeah. Great time of year.
The
roasted corn.
Well, roasted Democrats in Ohio. Ashland County, Ohio, the fair there, they had the Democratic Party had their own booth at the fair. Fair play. That's fine. Go for it. Well, they've been kicked out. They had buttons and hats, mostly buttons, at their booth they were handing out that either said 8647 on it or is he dead yet on the buttons.
Great taste.
Yeah.
Very, very above board there.
So they were, and we will put this probably more politely than the conversation went, they were asked to depart the premises.
And I bet they went really nicely, too. No protests, no gnashing of the teeth, and no hollering and screaming. They just said, okay, we'll be happy to leave.
Okay, that's fine. That's a good point. Okay, we'll go now. Thank you for pointing out our error. No, there was screeching. There was horrific flying monkeys and the Wizard of Oz level screeching that happened. You know it.
And how quickly must you operate in order to get buttons printed up within a week? I mean, somebody dropped the cash and said, we got to have this stuff. You got to be ready for this fair. This one, this Republican fair in this Republican state. Let's go down there and let's make a point.
Yeah. That's exactly how that went. They got a rush job on that. I'm sure Office Depot had no problem printing their stuff. It just went right to the front of the line, I'm sure.
They ran over to Target and, shopped off the for sale rack back there with all the rainbows and stuff, maybe.
What that kind of stuff deserves is to be made by crayon with your offhand. That's the quality level that kind of nonsense deserves to me. And before anybody says free speech, well, yes, they're free to say it. They're free to have it. They're free to have that stuff made. They're not free to have it out on display at somebody else's event, and they're not free from me saying they're awful human beings for having thought of it to begin with.
Well, I mean, we go back a bit. I mean, if you really want to look at it, all this hate speech stuff that we went through, it really applies to if a person that is of, no color, just white, does something to someone of color. Remember those days because they happened. And anyone that said anything from the one side, it could have been deemed extremely hate speech oriented from the left. So how is, when you actually kill somebody, though, and then you go out and promote that you should kill more people, that's some kind of speech that we should protect, that incites potential violence and harm to citizens that are innocent, such as Charlie Kirk, who is an innocent citizen of this country? That's okay, I guess.
Well,
no, it's not. It's not okay.
I have loved the responses that I have been seeing online about the people calling for, lowering the temperature and, seeing both sides,
diffuse it,
coming
right.
together.
I don't see the other side coming in. I don't see you wrapping or folding in the far left into any movement. Honestly, I don't. It's just you have an extreme right in this country too, and you have an extreme left. The extreme left makes up a huge portion of the left, though. The far right does not make up that big of a portion of the right.
Well, here's the thing. Okay. You had all of this, I can't even call it backlash. It's not that serious, to conservatives finally having had enough and firmly transitioning into the find out portion of the program. And then you come back and say, no, we must come together. We can't be at each other's throats like this. And the response I keep seeing is, we had someone on the conservative side with that moderate position trying to have conversations and talk and meet in the middle, and you killed him. So now you get what's left.
And again, it's not like that's something that the left has said, oh, that was a terrible event. The ones that have had the mouthpiece and the one that have had the microphone have actually said the opposite in many cases, where it's a celebration almost. And guess who? Let's go after somebody else next. I mean, that's basically what you're saying when you read a lot of this. It's like, we don't know who's next, but hey, let's just keep it up. We're doing a good job here. Remember, the president did get shot. You also had another potential assassin on a golf course. You had Democrats that showed up in or whatever they were, I don't remember, and killed 2 state representatives. You also have the most recent with Charlie Kirk. And you're telling me that these are people on the right doing this?
Yeah. Yeah, that was my favorite part of this, saying, well, we don't know what the motivation was. Well, they shot and killed a leader of the conservative movement. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure we have a strong suspicion where their loyalties lay.
Yeah. I mean,
that's not that hard. That's not a Sherlock level mystery.
That's where I'm going. It's like, this isn't hard to figure out here. And it's not just a trend. I mean, this is happening fairly regular. You're also hearing the protests out there of having crime reduced in major cities.
Yes.
This is a big problem, apparently, having the National Guard come in to actually clean up and help people that are innocent in all of this have a normal life, be able to walk to the grocery store if they can't drive, or maybe get over to the CVS if they need to.
Let me sum up why they're against that. I can sum this up very easily for you. We just had, Matthew Barton on last hour, district attorney up in DeSoto County, where the National Guard's coming in to help straighten out Memphis like they straightened out Washington, D.C. So this is very relevant right now. Let me explain why Democratic leaders don't want crime to go down. Because crime keeps you scared. Crime keeps you angry. And when you're scared and angry, you're much easier to control.
Oh, yeah, and it's much easier to bilk people out of their hard-earned dollars when you're making them scared.
Yes, you control them. So you're able to control and steer them in any direction you want if they're scared and mad. That's why it's a mistake to be scared to speak your mind. And that's why it's a mistake to let your anger devolve into something that's not useful. It needs to be focused. It needs to be directed. It needs to be constrained a little bit, because there's a difference between what comes out of a light bulb and a laser, and that difference is focus, and one is a lot more effective at some things than the other. We continue on this Friday morning next.
From the Venable Glass Traffic,
Mississippi.
We both knew it was just a matter of time. Living our dreams, oh, you on top. My mind is aching a lot, it won't stop. That's how it happens, living life by the drop. No waste of time, we'll have the day. Turning up the past, there's no easier way.
Welcome back. In addition to Chris Brown, Northern District Public Service Commissioner, who will be on with us in the next segment to talk about Holly Springs, we also can't forget, Lance, we got a chance for you to win some tickets.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously this hour. I'm sorry, I got so fired up, all the blood drained out of my brain, and I forgot about it.
Yeah, give away some Jay Aldean tickets there.
Yep, Jason Aldean, he has got his final pair of tickets up for grabs for free this morning. Because the tickets go on sale today at Cadence Bank Arena. They go on sale at Ticketmaster and at the Cadence Bank Arena box office. You'll have a chance to win before we get done here. Should we do it this segment
or at the end?
Let's roll with it,
baby. Let's roll with it.
Let's do it right now. I think now is a good time. So we need to get a texter.
All right, and this is what we got to do. Name, address, phone number, email. That's the way, so when if you are a winner, just let me know and make sure you have your name, address, phone number, email. That's how we get in touch with you. But go for it now. We're ready now.
Now, don't do that to text in first to try to win.
Only
That's going to take too long.
Only if you get the notice from me that says winner, then give me that information. Yeah.
To be perfectly honest, if you don't win, we don't care what your email is.
Exactly.
So just keep that to yourself until it's necessary. But we're, as always, going to use the C Spire text line for this. 601-879-4395 is the number you're going to text to. 601-879-4395. What number person are we looking for here?
It was the fifth day of the week, right? I mean, is Friday is 5 day, or is this actually the sixth day? How does that work?
I think it's the sixth day because Sunday is technically the first day.
Well, let's go with 6 then.
Yeah, 6. The sixth person to text us on the C Spire text line at 601-879-4395 with the words, burning it down.
Burning it down.
You're going to get a pair of tickets to go see Jason Aldean for free. Concerts coming up in January. You got plenty of time to arrange your schedule. Be on a Friday, January 16th. All we need is a sixth person to text us.
3.
Burning it down.
Yeah, we're at 3, 4.
And sounds like you better hurry.
Yeah, we better. 4. There's 5.
Next one.
6. Gotcha.
There we go.
Caught you right there. From the 662, I will text you right away.
Yeah, Lance is going to text you, and then you reply with those things that we only care about yours.
Yeah.
Email, phone number. We don't care.
Yeah, name, email, address, phone number. I'll get you the tickets. We'll reach out with it today, most likely. So.
Yeah, that was absolutely perfect. So congratulations.
Yay.
Enjoy the show. Tell Jason I said, how you doing?
How you doing, old boy?
You got to speak the language when you go to another country.
Got to, man. Hey, I have an interesting little tidbit I wanted to share because this is one of those that blows your mind a little bit. France's president on Friday welcomed the arrest this week in the occupied West Bank of a key Palestinian suspect. And guess how far back this one goes?
Oh, no.
1982, and a terror attack in Paris calling in he said this was excellent cooperation with the Palestinian Authority. Now, we're in the year 2025.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's taken this long to work with the PLO to get a terrorist out that bombed a cafe, the Golden Burger or something like that, back in 82. 6 people were killed, 22 wounded, and what became known as one of modern-day France's most notorious anti-Semitic attacks. All right, so there we go. And, the machine gun and grenaded, the Jewish Quarter. So they just found this guy.
Did they just find him, or
exactly.
did he just finally get old enough to where he couldn't run fast enough to get away anymore?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's head scratcher stuff.
They're busy. They're busy in France because the news broke yesterday that the French president Emmanuel Macron. And his wife, Brigitte, there's this whole thing going on. Candace Owens has been saying that she's actually a dude.
Isn't she like 20 years older than him, too?
Yes.
Dated when he was like 15 or something?
Well, they have now said, their lawyer has said, now I apologize, but this is the story. And since Lance brought up France, this is all going to be his fault for the mental image you're about to get. Their lawyer said that Emmanuel Macron and his wife will be presenting photographic and scientific evidence to an American court to prove that she's a woman.
Oh, good, yeah. I've been waiting for that, right?
That please, I don't ask much. I don't ask a lot. Please, anyone who knows anyone who knows anyone who might have the opportunity, when this photographic evidence is released to an American court by Emmanuel and Brigitte Macron to prove that she's a woman, I think we can all imagine what that would have to be. Please don't leak it. I never want to see that.
Yeah, no. Please. I don't need that as a image burned in my mind. I really don't care. I don't. Whatever the French want to do, they do it anyway. So.
But that's the thing. That's
400 political parties, and yet we want to, model ourselves after that mess.
You're talking about they finally bring a terrorist to justice from 43 years ago, but they're right on taking naked pictures of the First Lady, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, that's
priorities.
Priorities are important, Dave. I just found that was one of those. Like you said, I mean, their priorities apparently have not been very focused on catching people that blow up and kill people. It's just in 1982, mind you.
Well. That is, and it's been on full display for 2 weeks. That's the hallmark of the left. Words are much more hurtful than death.
Oh my God! Are you this guy here that won the tickets today? Listen to this. I've got some good luck. I won yesterday too.
Oh no!
Man, you have to call up all your friends now and. Yeah.
Holy!
You should have been playing Powerball this month. Match fives do, yeah. You might want to
go to the track somewhere. Do something.
There is a Greyhound track somewhere, huh?
I guarantee you can do the bottle flip challenge first try right now.
Jeez.
Go for it.
I love it.
But, congratulations, I guess.
Yeah, right, exactly. I'll just look at his. You don't have to send the info again. I got it right here from yesterday.
Crying out loud. And you heard live on the air, that was as random as it could be.
I mean, we just picked 6, It wasn't like I knew.
Well, you picked 5 until I reminded you how the days are organized in the week, and then it became 6.
I have no idea about anything much anymore, do I? Especially what day we're in.
We are very pleased to welcome you to the club. We'll have snacks laid out later.
Yeah.
The Fed cut the mortgage, or the interest rates rather, this week by 1/4 point. So, of course, after that 25 basis points cut to the federal funds interest rate, mortgage rates went up 15 basis points.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah. Supply and demand for the loan.
Well, the problem is supply and demand for the houses is a big part of the problem right now.
Yeah, that's the point. I was having this conversation with a realtor yesterday. The realtor was like, "Well, I mean, how is potentially 2 more rate cuts going to affect the market?" And I said, "Well, to me, winter is not a great time for buying and selling homes, generally because you have all the holidays. People don't really want to move. They don't want to pack it all up and have to do all that. So this first rate cut would probably, in my mind, and the potential for 2 more, likely prices itself into the market before they happen because of the nature of real estate, and it is seasonal. So I do think you may see some uptick in sales and those things. But again, the supply of homes is low. So, it's that's one of your issues there. You may see inflationary concerns leak in because when you have a low supply, generally the demand, if it's strong, is going to outstrip the supply. That causes prices to go up. And
supply and demand.
There you go. So
Economics 101, usually the first week, supply and demand is mentioned.
One of the hardest things to do is find that equilibrium, too. Being able to say just enough supply for just the demand. It's not easy to do, and it is very complicated.
And part of the problem, part of the aggravating factor, and I'm sure you've seen the same charts I have, going back to 1972 when Nixon finally officially took us off the gold standard, productivity and wages decoupled.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Productivity is through the roof. Wages, relatively flat.
Well, if you look
since 1972.
If you look at, and I've done this in many cases, look at the GDP of, say, Mississippi, and then place it with a country on the planet and see, we have a few million people. There are countries with 35 million people that can't do what we do with 3 million. And we don't even have that many working.
Well, and you know why that is, don't you?
Because we're productive.
Reason. Because we're awesome. That's the correct answer.
Because we're America.
Because we're Mississippi. And I almost accidentally came out with a Team America movie quote, then there would have been a meeting.
Of course there would have been.
Mississippi! And you finish it for yourself. When we come back, Northern District Public Service Commissioner Chris Brown joins us here on Mornings on SuperTalk Mississippi. Keep it here.
From the sea.
Welcome back. Super Talk Mississippi Mornings. Dave Hughes here, and joining us now, the Northern District Public Service Commissioner. Hopefully his lights are on, Chris Brown. How you doing this morning, Commissioner?
I'm better than I deserve. How you doing this morning, Dave?
Not too bad. Not too bad at all. Now, that's what we've got you here for. I thought that was the perfect lead-in comment because we're talking about Holly Springs and the utility problems. This has been a multi-year thing you've been fighting, isn't it?
Yes, sir. And it's been a decades-long problem for the people of that district. And so I guess a couple of years ago, we when I was in the legislature, it came to our attention of some of the trials that they were having up there. So we started digging in a couple of years ago, back when I was even in the House, to try to come up with just discerning what was going on and why it was failing. So we got all that kind of gathered up and identified the problems, and then the legislature passed a bill, Senate Bill 2453, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I guess now, and we started implementing that roadmap to resolution to rectify the problems in that system. So
now
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to lead into that by saying you actually, one of the things that it allowed you to do when that legislation passed, you brought in a consulting company to come in and take a look at everything and dig into the books and figure out, the processes, everything else, what was going on. And they didn't even have an easy time of it, did they?
No, sir. Actually, it was a two-phase report. Back just over 2 years ago, almost 3 now, we had the legislature commission appropriated some funds to allow TVPPA to go in and study that utility district to see why it was failing. So they issued a report. Then the legislation allowed us to have a follow-up report to see kind of where they're at and the kind of progress that they've made. And so
I think we may have there he is. You're back now. You dropped out for a second there, Commissioner, but that's okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry about that. So the follow-up report that independent agency that did it was
I think Holly Springs is trying to call.
Yeah, well, I think we've lost your audio there.
I'll give him a call. I'll get him back in a second.
Yeah, just get him back on a hard line on a phone call so we can avoid this, because I want to hear the rest of this, because this has been a story. This has been an ordeal that has been going on. They have had numerous frequent power outages for years in the Holly Springs area, which is kind of what prompted all of this and has led us to this point, and still, I think, trying to battle through some of this as best we can and get a resolution. I do also want to ask the commissioner when he comes back about the management arrangement, because it strikes me as kind of a unique situation. I don't think it's completely unique, but definitely along those lines, a unique situation with the way it's managed and how the management is structured up there. May be wrong, though. That's why I want to ask the commissioner when you get him back on the line here to find out what's going on in Holly Springs, because as he was saying, it's been a several year and really, honestly, decades-long process.
We're good to go now, sir. We're good to go.
Commissioner, you back with me?
Yes, sir. Sorry about that.
No, that's fine. Technology will turn around and bite you on the behind some days.
I was getting a phone call and it just dropped it, so I don't know why. So
that happens. That happens on a regular basis. Let me. Go ahead and finish what you were saying there.
Yeah, it's been decades, and that's what we found in the report, that it's been decades in the making, and it's interesting to know, and we can't get an answer of why a system like that would be just not reinvested in, why it's allowed to get to the state it's in. And so now it's literally just the vegetation alone. I know I've said this before on your show, on the show with you and Gerard as well, that it blows our mind to think that in a system like that in Mississippi in today's age, that simple things like vegetation management, right-of-way clearing just has not been done. And there's vegetation over the lines, which causes parasitic loss. It makes it dangerous to work on. It makes it almost impossible to have other people from surrounding co-ops come in and help, because it's just not safe. And so that just $10 million alone is a conservative estimate in getting that vegetation cleaned out, to see just how bad the poles and the infrastructure are under that vegetation. So we scratched the surface with the Silver Point report, and as it unfolds, it's probably going to be even more severe damage or in a state of decline than what we saw in the initial report.
Can we talk for just a second about the setup, I guess would be the way to phrase it, because as I was saying while we were getting you back on the line, it seems to be a fairly unique situation, because Holly Springs runs the power for a wide area around them outside the city limits, don't they?
They do. There's only 3 in the state that are set up this way that were before, back when energy was just coming to the region. And so 3 municipalities kind of took it upon themselves to start supplying power outside of their city limits. And those 3 municipalities are Holly Springs, New Albany, and Okolona. They're all 3 in the Northern District, and New Albany performs perfectly. Okolona has a few challenges itself, but Holly Springs stands alone as having, almost catastrophic type failures, potential catastrophic failures. And it's 1 out of 153 in the TVA Valley, in all the TVA states that are in this kind of condition. And I think TVA reported to us that over 70% of their complaints in the whole TVA Valley now, that's all the states that they service and all the 153 co-ops that they supply wholesale power to, Holly Springs generates over 70% of the complaints that they get.
Wow!
So it is in dire straits. Plus, like you said, it goes not only outside of the city limits, it covers 3 counties in Mississippi and 2 counties in Tennessee.
Well, let me ask you this. Let's just get to the upshot on this whole thing. In your opinion, do you think this is mismanagement, a complete lack of management, and is it fixable?
It is lack of management and a little bit of mismanagement. For the previous administration of the city of Holly Springs, the actual mayor would not even hire a manager to run the utility district. She attempted to do it herself. And so she's a learned attorney, but obviously running a utility district is totally different than most other professions. So that system suffered with her at the helm the last 4 years. And previously, it's been suffering from lack of management. I think they told us that they've had 6 different managers in 10 years. 6 different managers of that system in just 10 years. So it's been just a whole series of failures in the operation side of that system. And last I heard, they only had 5 linemen to try to oversee this 1,900 plus square miles of power grid, 16,000 connections.
Well, that's what I was going to say. 5 linemen, that's not a small area that this is serving. That's a lot of meters they have to try to keep on. That's not enough people.
Huge. And what keeps coming, we had a hearing a couple weeks ago where we allowed the city of Holly Springs it's just called a show cause hearing. So it was the final step in House Bill 2453 that gave us a path to try to rectify the crisis up there. And so at the show cause hearing, that allowed Holly Springs Utility District and the city of Holly Springs to come and tell us why and if they believe they're providing reasonably adequate service. So it was clear that the system is in dire straits. And I personally asked the mayor directly, do you think HSUD is providing reasonably adequate service today? And the response was no. And I asked the same question to the utility district manager. The response was no. And there was one alderman that was sitting there, and I asked him the same question. Do you think Holly Springs Utility District is providing reasonably adequate service today? And he responded no. So I think all the people know in the district that it's failing, and they owe TVA almost $10 million because in back bills on wholesale energy. They owe subcontractors $3 to $4 million. So they just right-of-way clearings over $10 million. They're $20, $25, $30 million before you do any repairs at all. So our question to them is, how do you move forward and reinvest in the system that's going to take millions of dollars to repair and to get...
Commissioner, I'm going to get you to hold that thought. We're up against the break. Can you hold on through the break? Because I want to finish this.
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. Public Service Commissioner for the Northern District of Mississippi, Chris Brown, talking about Holly Springs. And, it's a mountain's going to have to be climbed one way or the other. We'll get more into that when we come back for the final segment of Mornings on this Friday morning here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
From the Venable Glass.
An excellent choice of bumper music there, Lance, because there's a lot of customers that their lights keep going out in Holly Springs that don't want what they've got right now. Mm-hmm. Don't you want me, baby? No. Not really. Public Service Commissioner for the Northern District, Chris Brown, on the air with us. Now, you were talking about the show cause meeting, and you asked the mayor and some other city officials if they thought they were providing adequate service, and they all said no, which immediately tells you, okay, they know enough to know it's not being done right. Where did it go after that?
This was an official hearing, and so it was held to determine whether they were providing reasonably adequate service, and obviously they're not. So we moved to try to execute Senate Bill 2453. So we had 3 motions that were ruled from the bench that day. Number 1, that they're not providing reasonably adequate service. Number 2, that we can levy fines based on the law. And number 3, we would start the process of moving to Chancery Court to decide what to do with the system and how to move forward. So last Tuesday, during our docket meeting, we did go ahead and levy the fines, which are $12,500 per day for every day they're out of compliance. So it's getting. We want to show them how serious we are, that the people of that district deserve better, and it is killing the quality of life for people up there. We had one funeral home director said they can't even maintain the dignity of the deceased in the community because they can't rely on their chillers to stay chilled, or the power goes off in the middle of a funeral service. I had a Walmart regional manager say that regularly they lose power long enough to spoil all their frozen and chilled goods, so they have to scrap all that and reload. So it's a real problem up there. And when we fix this, everybody, a rising tide raises all boats. And so when we get this fixed, economic development will start coming in, the quality of life will go up, and then the reinvestment and the overall economic impact to that area will be tremendous. So we're encouraging the city to work with us hand in glove to get this solved once and for all, and to get it on a path as fast as we can, as fast as humanly possible, to get it to where it's functioning properly so these people can invest in that district and those communities.
My question, I got a couple, but the big one that I want to make sure we get in before we go, is there a chance that once you do finally reach the point where you're digging into this, is there a chance that you realize it's going to be more effective and possibly cheaper to just rip the whole thing out by its roots and start over?
That's what the TVPPA report and the Silver Point report both indicated, that the system is so old. They have a lot of transformers that are 50, 60 years old. So it's basically rebuilding that infrastructure. So that is going to take a lot of time and money. And so that's our question to these to the city leaders. How are you going to get there? And you have $12,500 a day fine encouraging you to get there quicker. And so and everybody will benefit once it's done. So we're in the process now that there's going to be action. The Chancery Court will decide what that action is going to be and what it looks like. And there's a lot of different paths. But right now, the city has control of it, and we're encouraging the city to come up with a plan. Tell us, if you're going to, where are you going to get the money? Are there any entities out there that want to purchase it? If there are, who are they? Have you negotiated with them? There's, any number of things that the city could do right now before the Chancery Court rules on what they demand happens in that district.
Oh, it sounds to me like it would be a fair statement to say it would be a rare moment of action from the city on this matter if they did. Otherwise, could we get to a point where this is going to get fixed with or without the city of Holly Springs government?
It has to. It's been 20 years or more in the making. We can no longer turn a blind eye to what's going on right here to our neighbors in Mississippi. And if you pull up some of the hearings that we had, and I can forward you some of the links, but the way people have to live in that district is not. It shouldn't happen in Mississippi. You shouldn't have these electrical spikes that make you replace your appliances on a regular basis. Your food shouldn't spoil in your freezer just because you leave town for a couple days and the power goes out for 24 to 78 hours. You shouldn't have to have your property values decrease because most people don't trust that utility district. You shouldn't have your standard of living go down because of inaction of the utility district to make sure you have reasonably adequate service to attract economic development to your communities. And so
sometimes I'm going to have to interrupt you because we're out of time. We're at the end of the show, Commissioner. But sometimes I've got somebody up above looking down and looking out for me because we're out of time. So I can't say what I'm really thinking right now about this situation. That means there won't be a meeting later. So that works out good. But you're doing an excellent job. Keep up the good work up there, okay?
I do want to say one thing if I have time.
Yeah,
we do have a Power Grid Summit coming up September 20th.
A SuperTalk Mississippi media production.